G'day, Bomber fans. Oh boy, the wheels have well and truly fallen off. What started as a promising season has unravelled pretty quickly. The Bombers for the second week in a row have been absolutely belted. It was another one-sided contest, this time against the Dockers, and now before crunch matches against some of the best teams in the league, we are outside of the 8. Our percentage is cooked, and it's probably more likely than not that we miss finals this year, which is wild to say after the 3-0 start. So, yeah, not looking good. The Bombers are not looking good at the moment. Leave your votes and role play in the comments below. Let's get into it. Quarter by quarter recap. The first was a real arm wrestle early. Both clubs were testing each other out. The Dockers looking the better of the two while it was 0-0. But a late surge really showed the difference between the two sides. The Dockers got some real momentum late with repeat entries. And all of a sudden, after no scores for either team for most of the quarter, the Dockers went bang, 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 bang. They kicked 4 in the space of a few minutes and really put the Bombers under the pump. It was another sluggish start, another big margin to overcome. It was 24-0 at quarter time. The second, again for the third week in a row, not much of a response. We did find a bit more territory, but the Dockers were controlling proceedings, defending entries really well, and then going down the other end to score. They kicked 2 for the term. We kicked 1 behind. The game was all but over. It was 37-1 at halftime. The third quarter was a bit quieter. Our defense was holding up. The Dockers only managed the 1 goal, but on the flip side, we didn't even score. We were 3 quarters into the game and we hadn't kicked a goal. It was also, by the way, the 6th quarter in a row that we hadn't kicked a goal for after last week's game against the Saints. So, yeah, not a fun start to the game at all. And finally, after 3 quarters, we hit the scoreboard. Daria Bannister ran into an open goal to spark the comeback. It was on there. If there were 5 minutes left in the game, the Bombers would have won it, but unfortunately there weren't. The Dockers would win the quarter and the game. They'd kick the last 2 of the match, bringing the margin to a whopping 48 points, back-to-back beltings, back-to-back 1-goal games for the Bombers. Yeah, let's chat about it. So yeah, not good. I mean, to start the year, we were fresh, we were exciting, we were getting wins on the board against good teams. You know, we beat the top 8 Eagles, smashed the Giants, but now we are really struggling. We weren't miles off the Cats a few weeks ago. I wasn't worried about that loss, but these last 2 games, we have been absolutely putrid. So the first 3 rounds, we kept every team we played under 30 points, which is great. Awesome defense, awesome footy. But since then, the lowest score we've conceded was this match, which was 56. And when you can only manage 8 points as a team, 1 goal as a team, you know, you're in bad shape. We really just did not get anything going our way forward of the ball, same as last week against the Saints. And it's odd because, like, it didn't feel like the midfield was one-sided. It just felt like there was no class and penetration when we won the ball. It's not an easy game to judge looking at stats, so we're not going to do that. But there was just a level of quality and efficiency that the Doggers had that we didn't. You know, I feel like last week it was maybe more of an intensity thing at times. This week, I mean, the same. Like, there was definitely a lack of pressure and fitness again. But again, it's just how easy was it for them to move the ball compared to us? Like, I don't know if there have been numbers shifted around the field to compensate for other shortcomings or something, but our game plan just isn't holding up right now. It was early in the year. We were hungry. We were hot at the contest, getting good spread going forward, good looks at goal, finding space inside 50 more. But we looked so easy to defend this week, hence why we had 6 goalless quarters in the last 2 games, which is just wild to think about. Yeah, it seems like our ball movement's just completely stagnated. It's such a struggle for the Bombers to get the ball inside 50, and then it's super deflating when our opposition can just waltz it out of their defence and move it forward our zone with ease. And it's similar to the AFL a bit, because we really struggle to defend ball movement here as well, but we also struggle to get our own ball movement going. And yes, Maddie Gay out is a big loss. Like, I'd say she's probably our best field kick in the team, but if we're reliant on 1 or 2 players being available to get close to mid-table teams, it shows that we're pretty far away. Like, I honestly think we have the quality to win games like this, and we showed that with our first 3 matches, but I think we've been found out a bit and are slow to react, and it's not good. And these really are games we got to be winning, or at the very least competitive in. You know, Fremantle are outside of the 8 on 2 wins. They're not a great team. St Kilda are outside of the 8 on 2 wins as well. We managed just 1 goal against both those teams. They're not going to be contending for the grand final. They might not even make finals at this rate. So I'm worried about what happens next week when we play North Melbourne, a team that beat Fremantle by 100 points earlier this year. Because Fremantle, I mean, they're not good enough to be smashing us like they did. And no offense to Fremantle, they're clearly the better team of the 2, but the difference is not that stark. It really should not have been this bad a loss. It does feel like, I don't know, we're becoming a bit reliant on a few select players, and when they're not playing well, we can't find any replacements. So that's not good, because we actively made ourselves worse over the off-season to bring more young talent in. So the fact that we don't don't have enough depth to deal with injuries and not enough talent to contend with these teams when playing badly. I mean, yeah, I'm content to say the season is probably getting close to done and dusted now if something doesn't drastically change. And I know lots has been made of the divide between the AFL and the AFLW squads, and there is news about the AFLW going around with the Bombers. I personally haven't looked into that or anything. I don't know if there is anything underlying to worry about, but it is a big drop-off in form. Like, we're just about the worst form team in the comp right now after being top 4 a month ago. So yeah, tough to really pinpoint what is going wrong because it is just so stark between the best and worst for the Bombers. You got to hope it turns around, but the next few weeks are brutal. We got really tough games. We've had a pretty easy fixture up until this point. I think we've played no one in the top 4. We've played maybe 1 or 2 top 8 teams, and both of those teams in the lower stage of the 8. But the way it's going now, we've got tough games around the corner. We're likely to fall down the ladder even more. The only positive news out of this game is that there weren't any injuries like the other weeks. So yeah, not good. It's not looking good for the Bombers right now. I want to have faith and hope it's going to get better, but there are some really tough games coming up. I think it's going to get worse, if anything. We will see. Hopefully I am wrong. Let's just get on to the votes and not think about this train wreck of a game anymore. All right, votes. The tally from last week after last week's game against St Kilda, and talking about relying on a few players, Georgia Nanscorn is running away with the count. She has had a dominant season. She is miles ahead of second place to Maddie Prespakis, who is miles ahead of the rest. You've got Wales, Gaylor, the co-captains on 5, and then it is a logjam below them. But yeah, it is Nanscorn pulling a merit and collecting all the votes. Tough week for votes. No one was really that great, so we're going to go a bit rogue here. I've given Wanda Bonnie too good. I thought she was quite up forward, but got moved up the ground to try and spark something, and did. I thought she gave it a crack and played pretty well. 2 votes to Alex Morecambe. She was intercepting well in defence, finding a fair bit of the footy back there when attacks were coming her way. I like her back there, and she's filling in for Maddie Gay as well as she can. 3 votes to Daria Bannister. I liked her energy. She hit the scoreboard, was in plenty of marking contests, not always marking them, but bring it to ground, moving around quite a bit, trying to get us going, so I think she deserves a mention. The role player, I've given it to young Chloe Adams. I wanted to give it to her last week and the week before, but yeah, she gets it this week. She goes in really hard. Her tackling's awesome. Very lean, quite small, but she has a lot of heart and really cracks in and gets to work, so she deserves a role player vote. But yeah, not a great week for the side, so there aren't really too many who deserve votes in my opinion. But yeah, next week we have a game that, I mean, it's an opportunity to get back on the winners' books after 3 straight losses, but let's be real, it's not going to happen. Even the most optimistic fans won't be tipping the Bombers in this one. We are at home, we're at Windy Hill, but we're hosting North Melbourne. And for context, if you don't follow the AFLW, North Melbourne are much better than their AFL counterpart. They're kind of like the Geelong of the AFLW, if Geelong were on steroids. They haven't lost a game since 2023. They are miles ahead of the competition. They're likely going to win their 2nd straight grand final. It's a no contest when you play North Melbourne. The AFL, they probably do need to fix, equalisation a bit or hope other teams catch up, because North are kind of unbeatable right now. They've got a percentage of 363. That is unheard of. Or it's not actually, because last year it was 315. So yeah, they're pretty clearly the best team in the competition. They're going up against a down and out Bombers. This has the makings of a big blowout. If they can beat the Dockers by 100, who beat us by about 50, how much are North going to beat us by? The hope levels for this one are kind of low. And then the week after we have Melbourne, who are also in the top 4. So 2 very tough games coming up. If we exit them with 1 win, I would spruce up and be back on the finals train, but it's more likely we fall to 3 and 5 with more tough games to end the year. So we need a miracle from here. Hopefully we somehow get it Friday afternoon against North Melbourne. But that is all. Cheers for watching, Bomber fans. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and as always, go Bombers.